So here it is. 3, 2, 1. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to Beyond The Showroom Podcast. I am Mike Davenport, joined by my lovely wife, Andy.
Hello, everyone.
Excited to be here tonight?
Of course.
Today? This afternoon?
Today, tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm excited about this episode because we're going to talk about many things in relations to trading in your car. My dealership is a top 200 Chevy dealership in the country, and we have a pretty aggressive used car strategy. Not going to really get into the details of the used car strategy because we don't want our other people in the area knowing what our strategy is. But used car dealerships or new car dealerships do definitely rely on used car inventory and getting trade-ins. And so dealerships are out there being very, very aggressive on getting trade-ins, buying cars at auction that are, good cars off auction, stuff like that. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. So it's imperative for a dealership to get trades and sell used cars because the average net new car profit is 2% net. That means after they pay me, after they pay the lights, after they pay everybody else involved in the dealership that gets paid, 2% net profit. So it's not a whole lot of profit in there. That means all the holdback you get from the manufacturers and everything like that. And that's why you see more and more dealers getting out there and being volume dealers. So there's many theories behind trading, selling it privately, selling it to, someone like Carvana or CarMax, stuff like that, telling the dealership at the last minute that you have a trade-in, like holding that, like pigeonholing it. The dealerships, they call that airdropping your trade-in. Have you ever heard that terminology, airdropping your trade-in?
No.
Yeah, so they call it parachuting, airdropping, stuff like that. It's kind of some slang behind the scenes out there. So that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about all that stuff when you're replacing a car in your household. So where most people choose to trade, there is a science behind the proper research to determine the value of your car. Most of you do it all wrong. I promise you that right now. I sell 30, 40, 50 cars a month, and I have a lot of trade-ins, and that's my only number one concern that I ever have with someone is what my car is worth. They do the wrong research. Someone tells them, they call, that's the one I forgot to talk about. They call the wrong people, they get the wrong information off the internet, and that's what they go in, and then they're throwing a curveball. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about how you can get the most money for your trade and the proper avenues to trade it. But we do have a routine sponsor on the Beyond the Showroom podcast, so we appreciate that. And when we talk about our sponsors, they're a big portion of our podcast, and they support us. So all we do is ask you to support them. So you guys know I travel a lot, and I'm on public Wi-Fi a lot. So when I'm using public Wi-Fi, or if I'm in a hotel or at the airport, I use a secure VPN service and then encrypt all that data I'm sending. I want to introduce you guys to Surfshark VPN. So Surfshark VPN is really aggressive VPN. It's a new feature in Surfshark that is called Hatlock. It provides you an extra layer of security. Hatlock scans databases for possible emails and password leaks and provides you, a user, real-time alerts. Any personal information that was leaked and found available on the internet. So here's the best part of the VPN deal for all of you guys, my viewers and listeners. You can get Surfshark VPN at surfshark.com/Chevy Dude. If you enter promo code Chevy Dude, you're going to get 83% off and 1 extra month of subscription. So for the viewers during the live stream, you see that on your screen now. Go to surfshark.com/Chevy Dude and enter the promo code Chevy Dude, and you'll get 83% off and 1 extra free month. This is who I use for my VPN as well. I have it on my cell phone, and we're running VPN on this stuff as well here in the studio. So check them out. They're a great sponsor for the video and for the podcast, and they're going to help you protect yourself as well. So you can always text your topic-related questions into 502-909-5192. And is that going up? I got one screen up here. There it is. So you got that number on your screen. It's 502-909-5192. You can text throughout the week. You can call and leave voice messages, all that good stuff. And if you want to guarantee your question gets answered, feel free to use the super chat feature or becoming a member of this channel, and you'll get all that stuff. So join us live every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. on the Chevy Dude YouTube channel for our live broadcast, and then every Wednesday morning at 6 a.m. Eastern time. You hear that, Adam? 6 a.m. Eastern time. Adam is my editor, and he's in Central Time, and he uploaded the last 2 weeks at 6 a.m. Central Time,
Oh.
which is 7 o'clock Eastern Time. Okay, Adam, you hear that? Adam's a good friend of mine, longtime friend, and I'm glad he's on here helping me out because it means a lot. So a couple of topics we're going to talk about in tonight's episode is how to properly determine your trade value, how to get out of negative equity. This is the big one, guys. This is a huge thing that people get asked all the time, is how to get out of negative equity. What's the best way? How to market your car if you decide to sell it on your own, scams to watch for, and then the big one, Andy, you reminded me on this. I almost forgot.
Which one?
The last one.
ACV?
Yep.
Oh.
Versus trade allowance. Dealers like to use this, ACV versus trade allowance. So
I'm
that's
glad
what
I know more than you.
Yeah, that's absolutely awesome. That's what you're on here for. That's what we like to have you on the podcast, because it gives us the awesome portion of.
You act like I'm a guest star when I am a co-host.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. That's
So
exactly what I'm talking
on
about.
every week.
Yes, every week. That's why I have you on here. Is that what I said? That's what I said, right?
How about it should just be the Andy Show?
The Andy Show, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Beyond the pod.
Get rid of the Chevy
I
guy.
can't even talk now. You're making me laugh. Beyond the Showroom Podcast with Andy.
Exactly.
So, ACV versus trade allowance. It's a huge deal. People, like a dealership will say, hey, listen, we'll give you 10 grand on your car. And then you come over to my dealership and I give you 5, because that dealership's playing games and they're basically lying and cheating you out of your trade value. So we're going to talk about that. So, so we're going to get into that. So we're going to talk about the very first thing. We're going to get it right out the gate. We're going to talk about how to properly determine your trade-in value. There's so many things out there. What's a couple of services that you know of to determine your trade value?
Well, I know what you like to tell people to use, and that's either the KBB instant cash offer, or isn't it Auto Trader?
Nope.
No.
Nope. But keep going. What else? What other ones are out there that you know? Do you know of any other ones
No,
besides
I'm trying
those?
to think of what the other one is.
TrueCar.
TrueCar.
Yeah. Yep.
I couldn't think of which one, the other one that you said.
What else? What else? Have you heard of any other ones?
No.
No? Okay.
Because I don't go on. Since I have a salesman in the family and he does all our purchasing, all I have to do is say, hey, I want this car. I want that car.
Who's a salesman?
Well, he's really horrible.
I am a horrible salesman. I can't even get my own car here, right? A horrible salesman. So, so we're going to talk about how to properly determine your trade-in value. Most people do the wrong thing. Let me talk about a few of the wrong things to do. One, don't get on NADA. NADA is not your friend when it comes to trade value. NADA is your friend when it comes to bank value. Most banks use NADA value. There's another one called Black Book that some banks use. Black Book just got me a deal. I couldn't believe I got this deal with Black Book. First time car buyer or new time car buyer. He's had a car loan, but he was jumping up way up in the value of the vehicle. So that was helpful that we had Black Book and it was way too high, and we got a good call from the bank to get him financed because of that. So he didn't have all the cash down. He needed like $3 or $4 grand down, and just didn't have it. And having that book value actually helped us out. So that kind of tells you a little bit of difference between the book values out there between Black and NADA. So then of course you got Kelley Blue Book, and you have different. We're going to talk about this as well. You have different values on Kelley Blue Book. You go to Kelley Blue Book. I see it. You go to Kelley Blue Book and you get 2 different values on your one car. That is kind of goofy. So that's why you have to do it right and you know how to get it.
Well, they have the private sale value.
Yep.
And then they have, is it trade-in or is it considered retail?
There's trade-in, and then there's retail as
Okay.
well. And then
it's
they
been
have
so long since I've even attempted to get on Kelley Blue Book to do any type of research.
right. And then there's certified pre-owned as well. And Smitty Rock, thanks for it. Appreciate all the content. Stay healthy. Can't wait for the Z06 info drop. Can't wait for it either. Smitty Rock gave us $5 super chat. Thank you. So you go to Kelley Blue Book and you can get 2 different trade values, right? So that's kind of crazy. And then they give you this crazy range and all that stuff as well on it. So it's very, very confusing. And then some things you don't want to do also is call your Department of Motor Vehicles. So in Kentucky and a lot of different Commonwealth states, you pay personal property tax on. So how the state determines personal property tax is based off of some type of value they come up with, NADA value, stuff like that. So when you get
most money they can find.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So they want to get the most tax out of you as possible. So they're going to evaluate they're going to value your car as high as possible. So they have their own way of doing it. I know Kentucky, they pretty much just go off of NADA retail. And so when someone comes into the dealership, they say, well, the state says my car's worth this much money. And I'm like, we don't care what the state says, you know? So they're trying to get as much tax as you can. So you can't call the state and ask. And most important, you can't call the bank and ask either. People call the bank all the time and say, hey, what's my car worth? And, that's just a really, really bad thing to do. So I appraised my car today on Kelley Blue Book, and you're going to see that pop up on the screen right here.
Which car?
My car.
I know. Which car?
My car.
Which one?
The one I didn't drive today.
You don't have a car here.
My Corvette. I had my Corvette appraised today on Kelley Blue Book. So you can see that the trade-in range is $35,225 to $38,464. So any breathing human being out there is going to walk into a dealership and say, "Oh, my car's worth $38,000, right? $38,464." That's what I want.
It's a Corvette. It's worth $45,000.
Yeah, always, right? Always. It's always funny because people are always saying, hey, they want the most out of their car, but then when they want to buy one, they're always wanting the cheapest one. I see all the time. Is there any cars out there for 35 grand? It's like, nope, there's no cars out there for 35 grand. So it's always kind of funny. But so this is what I looked at literally right before we got on the stream. 35,225 to 38,464, and Kelley Blue Book says that, hey, a good trade-in value would be $36,845. So with that being said, they say, hey, listen, this is the trade-in range, but a good value is $36,845. So then I hop over to private party value, because a lot of people do like to sell their cars private party, and you can see that the private party is $39,100 to $42,700. And they said, hey, a good private party value would be let's just say $40,942 is what they're saying for the podcast listeners, but $41,000 would be a good value, and that's probably dead on. It's probably our car is probably a 41 to 42 retail number. So that's more of a retail number than a private party number. I think private party would be 38, 39. As a private party individual, if you're selling it on social media or listing it for sale or telling your friends, I definitely would ask 41, 42 for it. Right? You agree?
Sure. I think you should have done my Tesla.
I don't want that. I don't want that type of negativity in my life. So,
that value's gone down.
Way quick. So that's kind of what is showing on private party. So coming back up here to the trade-in value, we look at trade-in value of $35,225 to $38,464 on Kelley Blue Book, and the trade-in value, they're saying a good range is $36,845. Well, I went ahead and did the liberty of going on to Kelley Blue Book Instant Cash Offer. And when you start looking at this Instant Cash Offer, all of a sudden they say, hey, listen, we'll write you a check for $36,000. Oh, wait a second. But you were just telling me that my car is worth anywhere from $35,200 to $38,400. So why are you saying that, hey, if you're willing to write a check and get involved with a dealer, why are you telling me the lower side of the number, right? Because now they're putting their checkbook and their dealer's checkbook into effect. So, and that's the biggest thing you have to remember when you have a trade-in value is whoever is willing to write the check for it is the one doing it. And Kelley Blue Book, and I just saw Dave Parker, Kelley Blue Book shows about 3 to 4K less than the NADA shows for my 2011 Yukon. And that's right, because NADA is way too high. NADA is not a good value on a car. It is great for taxes and it's great for banks, but it's not great for us as a dealer because they're just simply inaccurate and wrong. So they're putting $36,000 on this to give you the value of your car. And the reason they're doing that is because they are having to back that number up with their dealer partners. So, but here's the key thing. If you look right under that instant cash offer for the people who are watching, right under that $36,000, let me zoom in on that for you. Oops, I did that wrong. So let me go back here.
Well, while you're doing all that, we're getting harassed for not wearing green on St. Patty's Day.
Ooh. Today is St. Patty's Day.
Yes, happy St. Patty's Day, everyone.
Yeah. So I'm having a problem with this overlay here. Let me see if I can do this. Do this. Nope, can't do it. But anyways, this offer is good for 3 days, not counting Sundays, and can only be redeemed at participating dealer. Kelley Blue Book does not redeem offers, purchase vehicles, or operate participating dealers. So what I want to get the point out on that is Kelley Blue Book does not write you a check for your car. Kelley Blue Book is a guide, and that's what all of these are, is a true guide. So what dealers do, and we talked about it last week when dealers price their retail cars. So what they do is they use a company called Vette, and that's how they price their retail cars based off of what the market is. Well, congratulations. That's what we use to appraise our trade-ins as well. And Vette is a great company to use for every aspect of a car dealership, and it allows us to have the quickest amount of data. We can pull Carfax right in there. So one of the things that I did with this KBB private party the KBB instant cash offer was when I went through and answered all those questions that they asked, I did not tell them that my car was in an accident, because we know that my car, hear me, my car.
I hear
my
you.
car? Okay, just making sure.
I'm just tired of correcting it.
So it's always
Get
her
on
car.
with your rant.
So it's I did not tell it I had an accident, because if you tell these computer systems that there's an accident on Carfax, they're going to make you go into the dealership and get an inspection before they give you a value. So you do want to kind of maybe fib a little bit, maybe not be completely honest with it, but you got to keep that in the back of your head that you have not got the perfect Carfax or auto check on your car. So make sure that you understand that if you're doing that you go backwards. So another way to do it, which I have this service on my website, is TrueCar does this as well. So if you go to my website, ChevyDude.com, you can sit there and evaluate your vehicle. And look at this value here. So this breaks it down just a little bit better on the car's value of it. So you can see that with 24,000 miles on my car, we actually have about an $1,800 loser for having a little bit of higher mileage. That's okay. I'm okay with having the higher mileage. We have a lot of fun in the car, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's worth $1,800.
Thinking that we really don't have very high mileage.
We don't, but based off of the average mileage on it, because this is going off of the market value. This is going off of true car data, true car values, and I'm not using true car as a trademark name. I'm using it as saying, hey, it's going off of true data and true cars that are being sold, being retailed, being auctioned, all that stuff.
And we have high mileage for a Corvette.
We do,
because it's not a garage queen.
But here's the thing that you can't see over there. Our color, the color of our car, we lose $325 for the color of our car. I don't know why, but their algorithms just see that out there. Obviously, we know black, white, and red are the most popular colors out there, so those are going to bring the most money. You go look at a Tahoe or Suburban. Black and white Tahoes usually bring $2,000 more than any other color, just because those are the most popular colors. So the original owner gives us $300. I don't think that's really that big of a deal. I don't agree with that number, because what's a one owner car worth $300, right? A one owner car mentally is awesome, and it helps you out that maybe, hey, this person took care of their car. It's not been changing hands. It's been driven one certain way, stuff like that. It's kind of old school technology, old school thinking. But it happens that way. But so it does give us this, and our true car cash offer is $36,400. Now, again, you can go to my website, ChevyDude.com, and put in the true car offer and get that. Use your VIN, use your license plate number, and guess what? Nobody calls you, because I don't look at that information. I have that tool on there strictly for you guys to use at not get bombarded from car dealers. It's my system. It goes right to me, and I never look at it. So I just get in there and I use it as a guide. When someone calls me and say, hey, what's my car worth? I use the TrueCar data to get all the information because that's a little bit faster than going to a manager and saying, hey, what's this worth? And I always tell everybody that, hey, listen, I'm looking at this and it looks like the market is this, 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 and this. Want to go further, I can get a little bit more involved, but if you're just looking for a value and whatnot, then it is what it is. So that's some things that you can do to pretty much determine the value of your car right up front. Is make sure you utilize that instant cash offer, and you use the TrueCar offer. Those are the ways that you really want to do it the most, because those are the most accurate ways out there to get the value. Because as I mentioned earlier, KBB, regular trade-in value, NADA, all that stuff, those sometimes a little bit high. So, and then dealerships that put black book value on there is sometimes a little high as well.
Somebody asked about We Buy Any Car. Have you heard of that?
I haven't heard of that. That's here's the interesting thing. So when we came out of the economy in 2010, all of a sudden car dealers were buying cars from everybody, right? We buy a car. I haven't heard of that particular company in particular. Maybe that is a real company. Makes sense. But if somebody's willing to give you a big dollar amount for your car,
take it.
I sold my Camaro to Carvana.
Which we have some questions coming up.
Carvana overpays
CarMax and Carvana. And
CarMax is dead on. CarMax is dead on what your car's worth. So you can go there and get a value if you want to waste 45 minutes to an hour. When we did the video for our car, it was an hour and a half, which was brutal. It sucked so bad.
It was after me running a half marathon that morning and just super sore.
Yep, absolutely. So, and I was just doing that for content, which I kind of regret doing that for content. But so that's one thing you can do as well, is take your car and physically have it done it. But you can also take it to a independent dealership and say, hey, listen, I don't need to buy a car. I just want to sell this one. And you can go, say you're going to trade it in at my dealership. You can go to the dealership across the street, because every dealership is buying cars. And you can say, hey, listen, I just want to sell my car. What's it worth? And they're going to give you an actual cash value of the car. They're not going to give you a trade value. And that's one way you can do it as well. Which I think this epidemic that we're having right now with the health issue, I see dealers. I hate this. I do not like this at all. Dealers are being stupid for this. And for the dealers who are listening, stop doing this right now. You are absolutely crazy, insane for doing this. Do not advertise taking cars to customers. This is brutal. This is really bad, because it puts you into a trick basket with many states that we take a car to a customer. They have a 3-day right to rescission and just back out of the car. I know a lot of dealers are doing these 7-day test drives and stuff like that, but most dealers don't. Once you sign on the dotted line, it doesn't matter if you left the car lot or not. It's your car. It's not the dealership's car anymore. So I think we're going to start seeing a little bit more of that after this epidemic, because the car dealers are desperate to sell a car, because it has slowed down a little bit, but not a whole lot. I haven't seen a drop in anything. I did see one person actually text me today and say, hey, I want to back out of my Corvette. He just got $1,000 deposit, and he's like number 200 on my list, right? Not that big of a deal. But do you have any questions over there about that stuff?
We have a lot of questions.
I bet we do.
But, we've already discussed CarMax and Carvana and Vroom and that type of stuff. But somebody did have a trade-in of a Mini Cooper, and the dealer, when they went to list it for sale, had it listed $2,000 below what they gave him.
Yep.
The question was, how do they make profit on that?
So I guess we can kind of skip ahead to this. They basically gave you a trade allowance. They didn't give you actual cash value. They've lied to you about the value of your car. It's the best way and the easiest way I can explain it. And if a dealership wants to get mad at me for saying that, please call me tomorrow. Please call my dealership tomorrow and complain that I'm telling you to stop using trade allowance. Be truthful to your customers. Be truthful to everybody out there. Make it an even playing game in a playing field for everybody out there. Allow the customer to do what they want to do. Allow the customer to buy a car that they want to buy a car from whom they want to buy a car from. And guess what? When you stop playing these stupid games, we're going to put Carvana and Vroom out of business, because Carvana and Vroom are ruining our business right now. And it's good for the consumer if you just want to sell a car to them, because they're overpaying, as I mentioned earlier. But buying a car, it's not that great. I
mean, you're pretty much overpaying to buy the car.
Right. Correct. So basically what they're doing is every car out there has some sort of value associated with it. So if I have my car that I'm trading in, and I'm going to just use round numbers here, and I think that my car is worth $20,000, and that's the value that I set on in our little appraisal sheets that we have. The manager writes actual cash value $20,000. Well, the dealership may say, hey, listen, we're going to show this person $25,000 because we don't know if they're committed yet. We don't know if they're going to leave the dealership and go to dealership B, C, D, and E. And when they try to shop us and that dealership gives an actual cash value of 20 and we tell them 25, we're going to be a higher price. So that dealership lied to you 100% about the value of your car, and they can list it for $2,000 cheaper because that's not the value they give the car. So that's why I think it's a really good thing to walk in and find out what it is. And you got to ask the number one question. Andy, do you know what the number one question is? Oh, wrong button.
Wrong button. It's the purple one.
Will you write a check for the value of my car? Yes. So you have to always ask, will you write me a check for that right there? When someone says that this is your trade value, say, sweet. If you're looking at everything out there and you've done your research prior to, and it just doesn't add up, the dealership is giving you way too much money. Will you write me a check for that right there? There's two answers, yes and no. Now, the dealership's not going to say no if the answer is no. They're going to start beating around the bush. They're going to start saying, well, this, that, the other. Well, we really don't buy cars. Well, this, that, blah, 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 blah. Okay. They're lying to you again, but say that's fine. If they beat around the bush and they say no, that's fine. What would you write me a check for if I didn't buy your car? That's how you find out the ACV of your car. And that's where you can go from there. And if you use my worksheet, I'll put that out on Facebook and stuff like that. I have a video that I have a worksheet that you can start writing everything down on. But and I'll put it in the description of this video as well, and the description of the podcast. So you got to know the true numbers to make a good, well-informed decision. So you definitely want to make sure you get the actual cash value of your car. So the difference between actual cash value is that your car always has one value. There's no multiple values. Okay. Maybe dealership B is $500 high or $500 low, right? That's an opinion based off of what market they're looking at, or what they're looking at on the market. I said that wrong. What they're looking at on the market. So an opinion of sales manager A and sales manager B may be a little off, but they're not going to be thousands off. They're not going to be thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars off. So, and then trade allowance is basically like a discount of the car you're buying, the ACV, maybe some rebates in there. Maybe they're just making up a number, they're over allowing, stuff like that and whatnot. So that's what you got to ask when you're looking at actual cash value, when you're trading in. Get the truth. So the best things, again, is use Kelley Blue Book Instant Cash Offer, TrueCar, or ChevyDude.com, trade in value. Go to an independent dealership and say, hey, listen, I just want to sell you my car. What's it worth? And they'll do it. You can go to CarMax. They'll do it as well. You can get on, what's the one called? I'm drawing a blank. Where I sold my car to? Carvana. Thank you. I drawn a blank. You can get on Carvana. Carvana's going to be high. Carvana is going to be extremely high on your car. They were $2,500 high on my Camaro when I sold it back in July, which is why I sold it. And now I kind of regret selling it, because here we are 8 months later and I haven't had a sports car to drive every day. You know, I'm driving this
poor
truck.
Baby.
I know. So, but here's one thing you have to remember too. If you sell your car on your own or at a place of Carvana or something like that, is most states give you a tax credit. Sorry, Illinois, your state is screwing you over for sure. But most states give you a tax credit for the value of your car. So let's go back to my Corvette. My Corvette, right? No? Oh,
No.
Your Corvette?
Yes.
Okay. So our Corvette, how's that? Is that better?
No, because I tried to say RC8 and you quickly turned that around on me. You're like, what are you talking about? Our C8.
I did do that. I forgot about that the other day. So let's talk about Andy's C7. So Andy's C7, if I traded for this car today, I would evaluate it at $36,000. I think the instant cash offer is dead on, and it kind of goes back to what I was saying, that hey, maybe they're $500 off, right? if someone said, hey, listen, Mike, give me $500 more for my trade, and I felt that $500 wasn't going to hurt my deal to retail the car, there wasn't any reconditioning in the car, dirty Carfax in the car, stuff like that, I might do it, right? So in where we live, we have a 7% sales tax. So you get 7% sales tax on that car when you trade it in. So that's $2,520 in tax credit that you get when you're purchasing another car. So in a nutshell, you're going to net money out. You're going to net $38,520 on the car. So we looked at the private party value earlier. It's showing at about 41. I think 41's high. I personally think 41's high. I personally think 38, 39 is the real number. Come time springtime, can you sell it for 40, 41? Probably. Can a dealership sell it for 41, 42, 43? Probably can. But I think 39 to 41 is the number. So if you trade your car in and you get that tax credit, and in my case, I would have $38,520. You got to think of this. Is it worth to you to do the work, do the effort, maybe have to spend money on detailing? If you don't spend $250 on a detail, you're probably not getting a really good detail. Maybe you can spend $100, right? But you got to take it down there. You got to spend time without the car. You got to, if it's your primary car, not a backup car like what we got in my case with this Corvette, you've got to, get Ubers, get rides, stuff like that. And so there's a lot of stuff involved in it when you're doing that. So you have to make sure that it's worth it to you to sell it on your own privately from the value. I had a lady just this week, Saturday. Tom Mabe. Tom Mabe's a good friend of mine, and he's a big comedian, and you've probably seen him on YouTube and mostly on Facebook. But Tom Mabe's a good friend of mine, and he sent me in this girl who wants to buy a 2,500 truck. Well, she had a minivan that she was trading in, and it was worth $13,500. Well, she texted me on Sunday and it's like, hey, listen, I didn't realize this, but my ex-husband wants to buy the minivan. I said, no problem. You need to make sure that you get $14,300 out of it, because that's what your net money is on it. And she didn't understand that. I'm like, yeah, because your sales tax is going to go up if you take your trade out. So to break even, you are needing $14,300. And that's an easy sell, right? So she's not gaining anything on that. The ex-husband just wants the van for whatever reason, so she can hey, it doesn't matter, 14.3 from me, 14.3 from him, but if she would have been like, give me 15.5 for it, maybe now they got to start negotiating. Is it really worth the effort? And then you also have to remember this. If you sell it to somebody if you sell it to a friend, if you sell it to a colleague, if you sell it to somebody on Facebook, are they going to come back and haunt you if something goes wrong with that car as well? So there's a few pitfalls when that goes to that as well. And it's just things that I've seen, things that I've seen people go out there and do. And the infamous thing in the car business is that car deals cost friendships. Have you heard me say that before?
I don't think so.
I've said it, maybe not at home. We don't talk much about car business at home. Now we do every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. But
yeah, I have to hear a lot of about the car business now.
But the thing of it is that you sell a car to somebody, and their perception of that car is you sold them a bad car, you sold them a lemon. Now they're pissed at you, and they don't want to be your friend anymore. And you're like, you sold me that, you didn't tell me this, you didn't tell me that. Or you go to a family gathering or a friend gathering, and they're like, well, that car, I had to put new brakes on it, blah blah blah. Right? That's stuff you got to hear as well. And I'm pro sell your car whichever way you want. Right? So as a dealership, I want you to trade your car in for me, because at my dealership, this is my dealership, if I trade for a car and you as a customer call my dealership, don't know who I am, and you say, hey, listen, I saw this car on Car Gurus, and is it still available? Because that's the number one question, that's the number one asked question to a dealership. Is this car still available? Can I come in and see it? My dealership is going to get me and you together because I traded for it. I think that's a great philosophy. So managers, if you're listening, get the trade-ins with your salespeople who traded in. It makes these cars turn so much quicker. But so with that being said, if you decide that you want to sell it on your own, there's proper ways and proper techniques to market this for you. If you want to market your car, you can utilize the same websites and the same stuff that the dealers use. You can use Car Gurus. Car Gurus is the big one right now, guys. Car Gurus is so big and they're spending so much money on everything that people are going there left and right. I love Car Guru customers. When a Car Guru customer comes in, I absolutely love it because they are so informed, and you guys know this with me. I love informed customers. Informed buyers are the easiest people to deal with because they're coming in and knowing the game. They're knowing the pricing. They know what the car's got on it. They know how long the car's been in inventory. They know everything, right? And when we're smart about a subject or we're informed about a subject, that makes the whole process much, much easier, which is why I'm doing these podcasts, which is why I'm doing these live streams every Tuesday night, because I want to inform you to make the car buying experience easier. As you guys know, I don't do these to have you call me tomorrow and buy a car from me. And matter of fact, I don't want you to call me to buy a car. Don't take that rude, but I want you to have the best car buying experience from whom you want to buy a car from. If it's your local Chevy dealership right around the corner from you, if it's a Chevy dealership here in Louisville, Kentucky on the other side of town, and that's the dealership you want to deal with, fine. That's cool. I'm okay with that. My dealership's okay with that. We're going to be successful regardless of where you buy a car from. But if you can use my tips to buy a car and make it easy, then that's what this is all about. So use the same tools that the dealerships are using. Car Gurus, Auto Trader, True Car. You can get on there, and a lot of times it's very, very cost effective to do it. What I would not do is use Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist when it comes to retailing or private party selling a nicer car. Say I want to sell my Corvette. I'm not going to list my Corvette on Facebook Marketplace. Maybe I'll post it in some groups. Maybe I'll get into some for sale groups and post it in there. But there's a lot of scams on Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace. So you've got to be careful on that stuff. But use the same tools that the dealers are using and check out what they're doing. Auto Trader, Kelley Blue Book, not Kelley Blue Book, True Car and Car Gurus and Auto Trader are some of your bigger ones out there. And use their tools inside there that says, hey, listen, you really need to price your car at this. If you utilize their pricing tool and go in there and say, hey, listen, I want this to be, I want to get 12 grand for my car, and they're telling you that 11.5 is really the number. Get it down to 11.5. Again, the number one question that's asked to a car dealership is this car still available? Take yourself and put yourself in that shoes if you're looking for a car. If a car is too high priced, are you calling that dealership? You're probably not. You're moving on to the next car. So keep that in mind, and that's where a big pitfall comes to car buyers when they're selling them on their own.
Okay, we had somebody ask about a collector car that maybe doesn't have a very high book value, but the market for it is higher. Would you suggest trading that in, private sell?
So a collector car, say, let me think here. Say you have an 87 Camaro. It's really nice, right? That 87 Camaro in my eyes is worth $250 to $500. Let's say it has 80,000 miles on it. Let's be crazy. An 87 Camaro with 80,000 miles on it. It's super low, and it's probably a super nice car. It's still maybe $1,000, if that. I highly doubt it's even that. It's probably a $250 to a $500 car. So you can decide that, hey, just be done with it, get out of it. No, you know what? I'm gonna back up here. I'm gonna tell you exactly. I know this dead on. Let's take my 95K 1500 with 88,000 miles on it. That car to my dealership was worth $250 to $500. To the owner of that car, it wasn't worth that. I had to pay for that car. So we over allowed on his car deal, right? We didn't really give him his number. He knows this, right? So even if he's listening, he's a subscriber to my channel. He knows that we would not have wrote him a check for the dollar amount that we gave him. But he's like, hey, I don't care how you come up with it. Just give me this much money for my car. But to our eyes, that 25-year-old car, 24-year-old car at the time, it was worth $500. Truck, super nice truck, right? We know that. I bought it, so it's a super nice truck. But it just isn't worth the value. It's just an old vehicle. So we had to pay for it a little bit, but we made the deal happen, and we got a car deal, I think, at the end of the month or something like that. But so, yeah, I mean, collector cars, sometimes it's just easier to sell them on your own and get some cash for them. But you just got to realize going into a dealership.
So what if somebody had, say, a C1?
Oh, that's a different story. You need to sell it on your own.
But I mean, that's still a collector car.
Yeah. So you get into those high dollar cars or those really collectible cars. What is it, like a 67 Camaro or something like that?
I think it's 67.
So those kind of cars, dealership's not going to buy. A 29 Ford, nope, no dealership is going to buy that. You're going to be insulted by the price that they give you. It's so the you just gotta sit there and just sell it on your own and stuff like that. But so no, that's what you have to do if you have those older cars. Just look at them and see what the dealerships want to give you, and sell it on your own. But the older the car is doesn't mean the more value it is, and it's not what the dealership is looking for. They're looking for modern cars that they can sell in 15, 21 days. Lukey Loves says, does Bachman Chevrolet pimp up Chevy Volts? No, I don't think so. I don't know what that means. Rip off stickers or what? So is there any other questions over there?
Oh, we have plenty of questions.
You put that person in timeout?
I did not. I asked politely, and you can put them in a timeout.
We're just going to put them in a timeout. You're in timeout. You're in timeout.
Okay. So we had one person ask, do you generally get a better deal with or without a trade-in?
Say that again. Sorry, I was reading this message.
Do you generally get a better deal with or without a trade-in?
So I was going to bring that up. So it's perfect question. So you got to look at a lot of dealers right now are giving you trade-in bonus cash because this whole internet era, which makes us smarter as consumers, we can sell our car much easier. So if it's being sold, if we as a consumer can sell our car much easier, then that allows you to do that, and it takes the power away from the dealer. So the dealer is giving extra trade value, like a rebate or a bonus cash on that. We're doing it. We vary from $1,000 to $3,000. So again, you got to kind of take that into account. Remember, let's go to the high number and say $41,000 for my Corvette, right? Or her Corvette, that of what we're going to net if we have a trade-in credit. Now, my dealership on new Corvettes is given $2,000 additional trade value. So now we're talking $40,520 plus the additional $2,000 you don't have to pay sales tax on. So now you're almost getting exactly what your car's worth without having to go through the hassle and selling it and stuff like that. So it varies on dealership to dealership. My dealership, we're giving you a bonus cash to not sell your car and to trade it in because we have more value in having it and retailing it and having a customer out of it, especially if it's a Chevy.
And the same person wanted to know, is it less hassle as a salesperson to deal with a buyer with no trade?
It's a little bit less time. So most car dealerships, you can have a car appraised in 15 minutes. So to me, no, I go out and I use my phone and I take a picture of the VIN in the door, and I take a picture of the odometer and I walk back in. So I've showed you guys those silent walk around videos where the dealerships will try to devalue your trade. If that happens, you just shut your mouth and you don't say anything and don't let them devalue your trade. But that's all I do. I'm a unique person when it comes to car sales, because I don't do all the BS stuff that a lot of people do. So I just don't have time for that. So I just don't do stuff like that. So it's just a matter of the time. It's not that big of a deal. So
okay. And we had Corey, who
our dog?
Yeah, our dog.
Our dog's name is Corey.
No, he purchased a 14 Camaro 2SS 1LE that he says you were the original salesman when it was new. So it doesn't mean he bought it from you.
No, I think I know. I think I know who this is.
He wants to know what you should expect out of the aftermarket add-ons when trying to trade in. So selling it outright or trading it in, do your aftermarket add-ons add any value?
No, I think this is the gentleman who hit me up on Instagram, and or something, maybe Facebook or something. But he hit me up and said, "Hey, look, you sold this," and it had one of my silver chrome stickers in there, one of my original OG
That is
OG stickers in the door saying, "Hey, you sold this." I get that all the time, but I kind of remember the Camaro. Someone hit me up. So, but no, when you mod your car, when you aftermarket your car, nothing that you put on it builds value in your car. You got to realize that is, what do you want to call that? You want to call that, shoot, why am I drawing a blank on that? Customization. That's what it is. You are customizing that to your likes, right? You're not customizing that to her likes or my likes. You're customizing that to your likes. So what you do is unique to you. So in my video on Thursday, I'm going to show you a car with a pinstripe, and I'm going to tell you why that car has a pinstripe, because the people are older. I think someone my age, I don't want no pinstripe on my car. And this is on a Corvette too, by the way. But, to that person right there, that pinstripe builds value with them because they like the way it looks. You're not going to walk into a dealership and like, I just got a pinstripe, give me $500 more, right? It's a $10 pinstripe, $15 pinstripe. So, but if you put big mud flaps on it, or you put a 6-inch lift kit on it, stuff like that on your truck, or, you turbo, or you put a blower on your Camaro, that's not going to really build value in the car. And actually it's going to decrease value in the car because not everybody wants a blower on the car. But at the same time, if you can find that right buyer for it, then yes, that makes it an easier sell, because I had a customer that traded in his 14 Camaro for a 14 Camaro because my car had a supercharger on it and it was pulling about 650 horse, and he was getting ready to spend about 20 grand in order to do that. So, so that built value for him, that he didn't have to spend 20 grand, and he just bought a car and was done with it.
okay. So we've been talking about ACV and trade allowance, and basically selling your car to a dealership. Say we're not trading in, we're just going straight to the dealership to sell our car. What happens when you still have negative equity in that car? Yeah,
so if you have negative equity, when you purchase a car, you're obligated to pay that loan off in full. It doesn't matter how long you do it. If you did a 72-month loan, you pay it off in 72 payments, or you did a 72-month loan, you pay it off in 24 payments. You're obligated by your bank contract to pay that off. So if you go trade a car in, it's worth 20 grand, you owe 30, you're going to have to write the dealership a $10,000 check. Most times dealerships will take your payoff and send it to the bank on your behalf, because then the title comes to them for those states that have title holding states, that the banks hold the title. Or when we need a lien release, like say we here in Kentucky, the consumer holds the title regardless if there's a loan on it or not, but we do need a lien release for that car. So we'll send the money to the bank and get that lien release as well, and pretty much take you out of it, so you don't have to deal anything else. But you're responsible to pay that regardless what it is. And it's kind of like vice versa. Say you owe 20 grand in a car, and the car is worth 30. You're expecting the dealership to write you a $10,000 check after your payoff. So yeah, so you're obligated and responsible for that payoff.
Okay, and we had a viewer say they have a 2016 Silverado with 150,000 miles. They owe 23. Is it a good time to be looking at trading it in now with the interest rates and everything else?
What year was that truck?
2016.
2016. They owe 23, and it has 150,000 miles on it?
Yes.
That truck is probably worth 18, 19, 17, maybe 17 to 19, I would imagine. Just going off of only knowing two things. This is 2016, 150,000 miles. I don't know crew cab, double cab, if it's LTZ, LT. I just know the market.
Yeah,
it's most likely an LT, crew cab, or double cab all-star package. Okay, so that's what they all are. So that's what's in my head, and that's what made me think. So it's probably a $17,000 to $19,000 car. No, it's probably a $15,000 to $17,000 car. Would it be sold for $19,900 retail? Something like that. You can kind of see what goes through my head real quick here when I'm thinking through this really, really quick. So,
and again, the best way is to sit there and check out True Cars.
Yep. So you can look at it because the thing that I'm looking at here with his question is he can go and maybe not have too much negative equity or go from his interest rate that he has.
LT double.
LT double. See, I told you I was on it. He can go to a 0% interest rate. But what I haven't looked at, because it was announced yesterday and I was busy today ordering Corvettes and I didn't get a chance to look at incentives and read up on them and understand them, is most likely you're going to have to give up all these rebates to get 0%. So I'm going to try to do this tomorrow, but you have to really look at, is 0% worthwhile? So I know Chevrolet is doing a great job of trying to take care of people and making sure everything's doing good. But if you have to give up $8,000 to get 0%, that's not a good deal. So you just have to look at what you're giving up. And the dealership should, I always do it, the dealership should run a comparison for you to say, hey, this is if you take your traditional interest rate and all the incentives and all the rebates, and this is if you give up incentives and take 0%.
I think the biggest thing right now with that 0% offer that GM's doing is that they're allowing it to go out 7 years.
Yes.
From what I've seen.
Yeah, 7. Yep.
So that's a big deal to people because a lot of times it's not that long of, for the interest at 0%, they do the shorter terms.
Yeah, I forgot that it was 84 months.
So
yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, it's going out so long, and people may be willing to give up the rebates just to be going out that long and have that lower payment.
Right. Yeah. That could be a possible too, but you got to realize that the average consumer trades their cars every 36 to 39 months. So if you do 84 months, you are going to keep in your car for a while. So, and I guess that kind of leads us into our next subject of today's podcast of how to get out of negative equity. It's probably the number one question of how to get out of negative equity. There's I think 3 ways. Write a check, sell it retail, or pay all your payments equally over the term. There's no magic formula to get out of negative equity. When you purchase a car, you're obligated. That's all you have is obligations on that car. Now, when you lease a car, you have options, but we're not going to get into the leasing versus buying today. But when you buy a car, you're obligated. I said it earlier, you're obligated to make each payment on time to the bank and pay the full balance off. So if you buy a $50,000 car, you will pay $50,000 plus back because of interest, but you're going to pay that money off 100%. And it doesn't matter if you, in 3 years, you decide to trade and you roll it over into a new loan, because that's how you get negative equity typically. Another way you get negative equity is not putting 20% or more down when you purchase a car. Most people do not put 20% down. It is what it is. But to get out of the negative equity, it just takes time. It takes so much time to do it. And you want to go shorter terms. If you want to do 72 months, that's fine. I think it's okay to do 72 months. But I think in a nutshell, you need to pay about 80% of your payments. So if you have a 72-month loan and 72 times 0.80, you need to probably pay 55 to 60 payments worth before you decide to trade in. I think, and that's the key thing.
Now, with all these rebates, say we'll take a Silverado. I don't even know what the rebates are on, so
let's just say $12,000. Let's just say $12,000 off.
Okay, I was going to use 10.
Okay,
so
let's use 10. It's easy math.
If there's like $10,000 off a Silverado, and you happen to have $8,000 in negative equity, how does that work in your favor?
It doesn't work in your favor. It allows you to borrow more money on the vehicle because your loan to value is more in line. But you got to realize that car is being reduced by $10,000. Well, when it leaves the lot, it's going to lose another $8,000, because when you take a brand new car off the lot and you decide you want to trade it in 1,000 miles in 1 month, right? You have to market that car to someone who is willing to buy a new car, but now they see this one over here, and what are they willing to pay for a used car with 1,000 miles on it, right? I'm going to the extreme that you're going to trade in 1 month, 1,000 miles. So, but that's what you have to look at on the new car versus used car market is, okay, I need to steal a a new car buyer and flip them to a used vehicle. So now I have to have that price point in line. And what's that going to take? So you as a consumer, you guys in the chat, if you were looking at a $30,000 car, doesn't matter what it is, brand new, no miles, what would it take you to buy that exact same car with 3,000 miles on it? How much of a discount under 30,000? Throw it in the chat below for the live streamers. What would it take? How much money would it be to have 1,000 to 2,000 to 3,000 mile car below 30 grand? That's the question you have to ask yourself. And that's what happens when you want to trade something in. That negative equity doesn't just poof, go away. That negative equity is always there. And a big terminology that inside the car business they use is the terminology buried. You're buried in your car because you have so much negative equity without big cash down. No bank is going to finance you because banks have what's called LTV, loan to value. So Russell said right away, 24,000. He says, and this is fine. There's not a wrong answer here. With the only way there'd be a wrong answer is if the dealership's not willing to sell it for that, right? But they're telling me 6,000 under, 7,000 under from Cascada. Justin said 4 to 5 with a CPO warranty. So there's real data from real people that are on this live stream that they're saying that, hey, if I'm going to buy a used car, and it doesn't have the new car quality, the new car smell, the new car warranty, the just the ideology behind it, saying I bought a new car. There's your real information right there. So that's the kind of things you look at when you look at rebates. That's not a discount on a car. They should just sell the car for that price anyways in the first place. My thing, I hate rebates. Rebates are so complicated and so convoluted, but that's what GM does, and it's what Ford does, and that's what Chrysler does. You go to Subaru ain't got no rebates. Volkswagen probably doesn't have many rebates.
Honda doesn't.
Good luck on getting a rebate over at Subaru. You're lucky to get $500 off on a brand new price on a brand new car. So, but that's just the way they do it. So, Mark Vincent, he just said it perfect. Why didn't I couldn't remember. I didn't remember this. Mark Vincent just said the best thing, and this is dead on. It has to be 1,000 under what a new car with a GM employee discount would be. Dead on. If I appraise a new car, I don't have to do that much around here because we don't have many employees. But back up in Fort Wayne, we have a lot of GM employees. Down here in Louisville, we have a lot of Ford employees. Now we have a bigger risk or a bigger concentration of employee pricing. We have to be past that. So I'm going to be $3,000 to $5,000 below employee pricing if you trade that car in. So Mark said it perfect. That's dead on comment from Mark. With that being said, the only way to get out of negative equity is paying it. But I'm just kind of trying to get into more depth and more detail on everything on it, rather than just saying you got to pay it off, right? There's no context to that. But you can't get out of negative equity in a magic wand.
Well, we have a question. I'm upside down 2,500 on my 2016 Jeep Grand Cherokee, and I want to trade it in. I have $4,000 cash. Should I put the $4,000 on my loan to get equity in it, or use it for a down payment?
So if you're going to trade, I always tell people use that money as a down payment. Don't send it to your bank, right? So it's going to go to the same place. There's no different. I mean, you can send $2,500, which now, again, in today's technology, you get on your Capital One account or your Bank of America or whoever your car loans through, and you pay that $2,500 instantly right there. You're more than welcome to do that. But if you're thinking about it and you're going to go to the dealership tomorrow, just give the dealership your $4,000. If you got that money burning a hole in your pocket and you think you're $2,500 upside down, just write a check to the bank real quick. And, if you go shopping in a week or a month or 2 months, your lower value or your lower payoff is already calculated in there.
Okay. We have a question, and this is kind of a little off topic, but still on topic. I'm looking at a 2015 Suburban LTZ, Preferred Equipment Group 1LZ, with 62K miles for $33,000. Is that a good deal?
So what year car is it?
2015 Suburban LTZ.
For $33,000. How many miles?
62,000.
That's pretty dead on. So Suburbans and Tahoes are some of the hardest vehicles to get a hold of. that's highly sought after. So my dealership, that's like the only cars we buy from like Enterprise and Hertz are those cars. We have bought, listen, this is crazy, right? This is how hard this market is. We have literally bought the asking price on a Hertz website before and been able to turn around and sell it for higher value. You know, we pay a retail value, what they're saying is retail value, and turn around and sell it for more money. That's not taking advantage of anybody. That's just what the market is. Maybe the market in Florida is a little bit different than it is in Kentucky, but yeah, those are really, really hard to get a hold of. And if you can get a 33,000 mile, 60,000 mile LTZ Suburban, you know, with proper maintenance, that truck will last 300,000 miles easy. And you don't have to spend $75,000 now, because that's what that truck's worth now is $75,000. And if you can get $8,000 off MSRP, you're doing really, really good. So the last topic of this podcast is scams to watch for. This is a huge one, right? There's so many scams out there, and I just recently saw this on Facebook out there, and I see it all the time. And this is what you have to watch for. So let's talk about selling your car privately. Let's assume you're selling your car privately. You're listing on multiple websites. You're listing on Craigslist. You're listing on Facebook Marketplace, where the case may be. And you're going to have strangers come over to your house, meet you somewhere in public, and test drive your car. What's it going to take for them to pull out a gun and say, "Get out of my car"? Right? It's happened. Look, Google it. It's happened. It just happened in Scottsburg, Indiana, just a couple years ago here in Louisville metro area. And luckily, the guy was a concealed carry, and he got his gun out, and it was a showdown, and the guy had a BB gun, right? So luckily that was a good ending. But you know, one, I wouldn't recommend that. I'm a concealed carry guy, and I practice a lot of active self-protection with gun and stuff like that. But he probably did that all wrong. But again, I don't want to be in a gunfight with anybody. I don't want to pull my gun on anybody. It's there in the event of, but it's not something that's worth it. But that's what you got to worry about. Okay, now you let them go out without you in the car. Your car never comes back. That's something to watch out for.
And that's happened.
That's happened. So now, you know, someone will say, "Oh, well, I just make an insurance claim on it." That costs you money in your insurance that your car got stolen. And then when they find out, well, how they get it? Well, I let them have it. I was trying to sell my car. That's a claim on your insurance. That's a negative effect on your insurance claim history. So, and then we get into the fake payments. There's so many fake payments out there, and trust me, people try to fake us out all the time, and I don't talk about it a lot because I don't want people to get smarter on it. You know, I did the really good video as this guy tried to come in and was going to pass a bad check on us, and I eliminated and I deleted how we found out, right? And I love it because people try to roast me on there, and they're like, "Well, who takes a personal check without checking it?" Blah blah blah. Well, you don't know what I did to find out that it was fake, that he didn't have the money, other than what I told you. But I'm not going to go into the details and telling you my checks and balances to protect my dealership and protect myself from it. But I'll tell you that there's fake cashier's checks out there. There's fake bank withdrawals out there. There's fake wire transfers out there. If you go look at anything on YouTube for people scamming scammers, you know, getting back at the scammers, there's people out there that have setups that like, "Here, listen, I'll show you, I'll wire transfer it. What's your bank account information?" And they have a program on their computer that makes it look like it transferred. It sends a text message to you that you got your money, and it's not really there. They write, you know, the biggest ones is, you know, "Hey, I'm going to write you a check, but you know, it's too much money. Just give me the cash back." We know those are scams, right? Those are seen a million miles away. We got to check up. My daughter was trying to sell
A flute.
And someone did that, and she didn't know any better, right? But we caught it. Thank goodness she told us. And, you know, it's like, that's the oldest scam in the book, but it happens to people. So that being said, you know, there's so many scams out there that we don't know. And I just recently saw a Z06 get scammed by someone. And you know what they're left with? They're left with a payment and no car, which is kind of the way I feel right now with my Corvette. I paid for my car, but I don't have it.
Yeah.
Got pieces of it.
Okay, so we had, and this has been texted and on the live stream, Ott Life, I don't even know if I said that right, but he says, "I have a 2010 Chrysler Town & Country touring van and got an offer from Carvana for $950 and Vroom for $250. So I guess my take on it is when
what do I do with that?
Well, when you're getting offers that low, there's a good chance they're saying, I don't want your car.
Yeah, that's a left-handed turn down, right? That's what we call in the industry a left-handed turn down when we have someone with maybe subprime credit or a lot of negative equity that the bank will say, oh yeah, we'll do it, but we need $15,000 down, and the customer's got $1,000 down, right? That's saying, hey, we'll do it, but we know you'll never do it, right? So it's a left-handed turn down. Apologize to any left-handers out there. That might be I just thought about that. It might be a negative towards left-handers. I don't know. It's just the terminology that I've heard in 20 years in the car business, but that's basically saying, hey, yes, we'll buy your car, but we really don't want it. Body shop buddy of mine, he's so busy, doesn't want any business, quotes everything almost double because he's so busy, right? And someone took him up on his double the price offer. This is like 10 years ago, right? It's not current, but it's like somebody's paying that. He says, yeah. He says, I didn't want the business, but I didn't want to tell him no, so I jacked it up. And in my dumb butt, I sat there, and I'm just being honest with you. I just had a guy just absolutely treat me like crap through an email, and I just email him back. I'm like, sir, I'm not really interested in doing business with you. Have a great day. And he comes back and he fires me and wishes me to die and stuff like that. And then he contacts my department again, and he tries to turn it around on me, like, wrong. They're going to believe me more than they believe you. But so, yeah, it's kind of like a left-handed turn down when they do that. So that's just something you just definitely want to sell on your own. If they're offering that and you got like stupid high miles on it, like say you got 200,000 miles, because that's, again, 2010, I assume it's got to have high mileage on it. Go out and sell it for $1,500. You know, if you get 1,000, you're $50 ahead. But I would imagine that you could probably sell that thing for $1,500, $2,000 all day long on that. But that's the reason they're doing that. Next question. We got another question?
Well, we have a lot of different questions, but not all of them have to do with what we're talking about. So Brett says, I have a 2019 Camaro 1SS. I have a loan through someone else. How can I get into the 0% interest if possible?
Hey, just trade it in. It's really simple. Nothing of a big deal. It happens all the time. So right above him is, can I trade 2 cars in for 1 new car? Absolutely, you can. So you need to check with your state. Because some states only give you tax credit for 1 car. Kentucky does give you tax credit for 2 cars, but their system does not allow you to get tax credit on 2 cars. So there is a way to get around that. And I'm not going to put that on social media. I'm going to keep this close to my chest because this is how I help my customers out. There's a way to get that tax credit, and Kentucky will issue you a check. So that's a value of working with the Chevy Dude when you're coming to this is just for Kentucky, right? So this is not going to affect anybody on there, but there's no reason for dealership ABC across town to get knowledge from me to sell a car and use my stuff against me.
By the way, the Town and Country had 150,000 miles.
So. and see, you know, and this isn't like an arrogant statement or narcissistic or pat myself on the back. It's just, this just kind of shows, you know, this is 2 different cars that they just told us very basic information, and I hit the nail on the head. And this is when you're dealing with professional car salespeople, when you're dealing with professionals in an industry, it doesn't matter what they're doing. This is the stuff that they know, and this is the stuff they see. So I think I said 200,000 miles, but I said high mileage, and then I said maybe 200,000 or something like that. You can go back to the replay and see. But you know, but that's just the type of stuff I see. The guy with the LT double cab, I said LT double cab, maybe a crew. With All-Star package. That's just a common thing.
Okay, we have a couple good ones here. When trading in a car, is it better for the buyer to trade it in to the same make as the used car? So basically Chevy to Chevy, Honda to Honda, etc.
Yeah, so there's a little bit of different theory on that. So like my dealership, because we're so big, and even before my social media, right, it has nothing to do with me in any way, shape, or form. If I left my dealership today, they would be fine. That dealership is not successful because of me. I promise you 100%. But with my dealership being so big, we took in this $104,000 Lexus something or other. You know, the guy bought a Corvette.
Well, you guys also have had a Bentley.
I've sold a Ferrari through there, stuff like that. So we're not afraid to take in that odd car. Now, the turn on a Bentley or Ferrari is sometimes a lot longer. So some dealerships are afraid to take in something like that. So So yes, would a Lexus dealer rather trade a Lexus? Absolutely. Would a Chevy dealer rather trade a Chevy? Absolutely. But see, here in Louisville, Kentucky, I want some Fords on my lot too because we're in a big Ford town. So it just depends on the market. But most importantly, if they're a big dealership, they shouldn't be scared of it because they're looking at the market and looking at the turn of market. So the newer cars, sometimes it's harder if you have a lot of certified pre-owned stuff. We don't certify pre-owned stuff at our dealership. It's kind of a waste of money, and that's really all I want to say about it because I don't want to have GM call and say that I'm bashing them. But so we don't certify pre-owned stuff at our dealership. Some dealerships do. So if I take a Honda in that's maybe like a 2016 with 50,000 miles on it, and there's a 2016 with 50,000 miles on it at the Honda dealership across town, and they're certified pre-owned it, their car is going to be more valuable in the human eyes than my car at my Chevy dealership. So that's a disadvantage that I have is I can't certify pre-owned that car.
Okay.
We'll do one more question for the podcast. We're hour 10 minutes for the podcast. So we'll do that, and then we'll kill the podcast, and we'll stay on afterwards for the live streamers for a little bit. And that's what we do.
Try to answer some more of these
questions. We try to get to all these questions. There's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them coming in. We got 4,000 people on the live stream so far for this live stream. So we really appreciate everybody being on here. But we'll ask one more question.
I got it if you just hush.
I just got to shut up. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, you do. Up. Amy Brown wants to know what happens when I trade in current car, which is valued more than the car I am looking at. Will a dealer write me a check for the difference?
Oh, it's a great question to end this with.
Exactly.
Yeah. So yes, they will. Oh, you are good. You are good. Sarah already gave the answer. Yes, they will give you a check back for it. It happens all the time at my dealership, but yeah. So if you have a $20,000 car and it's worth 30, they'll, or you have 20,000 on a loan and it's worth 30, yeah, they'll give you that check all day long. Very, very simple. So for the podcasters, we want to say thank you so much for listening to Beyond the Showroom Podcast. Again, every Tuesday night, 7 p.m., me and my lovely wife, Andy, are here live on YouTube on the Chevy Dude YouTube channel. If you look up Beyond the Showroom Podcast, if you look up Beyond the Showroom on Facebook, we have our Facebook page. If you go to beyondtheshowroompodcast.com, you can see everywhere that the podcast is streamed at, and you can listen on your favorite streaming software. But as always, guys, thanks again for listening. Have a great day and drive safely. I said listening this time. I usually say thanks for watching.
Okay, so we'll get to some of these other questions that keep coming in.
I'm gonna go use the restroom real quick. So
I have to sit there and answer questions.
You answer the questions you best can, and I'll be right back.
Yeah, like I can answer some of these questions. Okay, so certified pre-owned. Somebody asked, what is it? And it's basically dealerships, like a Chevy dealership, can give a used car of so many years a certified pre-owned warranty, which will just basically give you a little peace of mind given that something happens to it right after. So, I mean, it's just a little bit of a warranty, and it varies between the car makers. So, you just kind of have to see what the dealership is offering. I know Bachman does not do a whole lot of certified pre-owned, if any, anymore. Some dealerships are and some dealerships aren't. So it's a good thing to check out. And the question of the night, do we have our C8? The answer is no. It was answered at the beginning of the show. And again tonight, no C8 yet. So let's see, what else? Oh, the other thing that everybody keeps asking about is the current health crisis that we are in. And right now, it's not majorly affecting the dealerships in this area. But stay tuned because the world's just going to get crazier.
We never know. We have no idea what's going on with all this stuff around. So it's absolutely insanity. And I'm not a health expert. Don't know much about this stuff, but I think it's blown way out of proportion, my personal opinion.
And
Steve said, great video and sound quality. Thank you. I don't know what happened last week. That's really weird.
I I didn't think it was.
No,
I
but
didn't listen to
Adam,
the.
yeah.
I didn't listen to the podcast, but
You're not listening to my podcast and giving me views
I.
and listening to yourself.
I
don't either. I haven't listened to one bit. So once I export it out of here, which I'm not going to upload this week while we're streaming, I send it off to Adam and he does everything, and I don't listen. I don't even have to upload it. Like, I've given him access to my software and my Anchor and all that stuff, and I just let him do it all. Love it. It's an awesome guy.
And let's see. Oh, here's
Angus.
a great one that we didn't get to
Angus.
on the podcast. But can you sell a car with a loan privately? If you can, how do you do that?
Yeah, you can. It gets tricky because if your bank's local, it makes it really, really easy, right? So you can go in and pay it off, and if there's money owed to you, perfect. If there's money you owe to the bank, you can pay that off. Say you use like a Bank of America or some type of big national bank, and they're not around you, and you have to pay it online or write a check or whatever. It gets really tricky because number one, the buyer has to trust you, right? Because they're giving you money. They're giving you money, and you're not giving them a title, right? So there's a lot of trust in that buyer. And so I kind of talked about scams during the podcasting part of it, that they have to be really trustworthy of you. So you can do it, but if you can work with the same bank, that's usually helpful too. But when you send in a check or you do a wire transfer, it could take that bank 2 weeks before they get you your title and lien release. And then you have to get that to them. And in the meantime, that buyer is going to be driving a vehicle with no plates, because you're not going to leave your plate on there, because if he goes across the toll bridge or toll roads, then that comes back to you. Robs a bank, does something illegal, that could come back to you. But so that puts you at risk as well. So,
but what if it's like Kentucky where the plate stays with the car?
Yes, correct. So that's where I was kind of going with it. So if that plate stays with the car in those states, Arizona's is that way. I know Kentucky's that way. Then that puts a lot of risk on you to do that. What is that paint color called?
Hi, dog. I have no clue what
gray.
Yeah,
we bought it at Home Depot.
Some form of gray that has a little bit of bluish tint to it.
Does your dealership broker sales? We don't do broker sales. We don't do consignment sales, stuff like that. Now he's spamming the chat.
Yep, I was gonna say time for a timeout.
I got him.
Okay,
don't spam our chat, please.
This has been a question I've seen a couple times. I guess the UAW is calling for 2 weeks off amid this health crisis, but I have not seen anything regarding that.
I don't know, and I'm not. I don't watch that stuff. I've kind of talked about it on YouTube before. Some of my videos. I don't watch the news. I mean, the news is so depressing and is so negative, and it's against everything that I do in life. That I'm so positive, and everybody's like, I love seeing these comments. Right? Everybody's like, he's 2 weeks into not having his car, and he's still smiling. It's beyond my control. Right? I'm not going to lose sleep. I do lose sleep over it, actually, which is rare for me because it's never really happened. But I'm putting a lot of money out on this car. It's a $104,000 car, and I got a lot of riding on it, and here I am 2 weeks later. But I just deal with it. I had this quote. That came up the other day, and I really liked it, and I kept it. And see if I can find it real quick. Yeah, it says, "Don't fear failure, only see victory." And when I saw that the other day, and I read a lot of positive stuff and I listen to a lot of positive stuff, when I read that, I'm like, that is dead on what I'm dealing with right now. Like, I could sit there and be like, well, my car's not here. I can't do the first delivery video. I can't do the first, exhaust video. I can't do the first dyno video. I can't do the first, burnout video. I mean, that's what YouTube's all about, right? The first. Well, I don't compete with anybody, right? So I've talked about this before, that if I have an idea in my head, I'm not copying off of somebody else. I'm trying to think of my own creative ideas, my own creative spin on things. This is why I don't script things. This is why I like ad-libbing things. And is it unpolished? Probably so, but it works for me. And I like to use the knowledge that I have in my head and go with things. Am I dumb with some things? Absolutely. I'm an idiot on a lot of different subjects and a lot of different things. Like, I don't know much about cars to bottom, but I'm going to try to on the C8. That's, I'm trying to work out deals with a couple with a supercharger company so we can supercharge the C7 and the C8. I want to have some fun with it and just go out and do some things with it. But yeah, I mean, I just be positive in life, right? Just like we said at the beginning of the podcast, why do you want to come on to someone that you don't know and be rude and mean to him? This guy that I was talking about on the podcast, he's 72 years old and he wishes for me to die. I was like, that's crazy. You know what? You're not going to ruin my day, sir. Enjoy your time down there in the villages in Florida. And I'm going to go on with my day and not lose sleep over it. And this is why I don't want to do business with you, because you act like a fool. So that's the biggest thing, is just go out and enjoy life. We have one life to live, and I'm going to live it. Promise you that.
Okay. Fox Unfocused says, I have a 2017 Subaru with $6,000 negative equity and a 2004 Mazda RX-8. You'd offer me $500 for, and I'd take it. If I could get a loan approved, would the Kentucky tax credit make it worth it to me to trade down?
Like, he wants to
trade in both vehicles.
Yeah. So it could. I mean, if you have $3,000 negative, 3,000 or 6,000, he has 6,000 negative equity, right?
Six negative, and then the other one's not.
But really, you know what? And I didn't say this in the podcast, and I forgot. And I wish this question would have came up, or we saw, or whatever came up during the audio portion of it. But here's a car salesman telling you this. No car salesman is ever going to tell you this. Don't trade. Pay it off. Stop going to the gas station and getting a Snickers bar. Stop getting a Red Bull. Stop getting coffee. Stop getting, stop sitting there and telling yourself, I deserve to go out and have a steak dinner tonight. Use that money and go pay off your car loan. Get yourself in the right equitable position, and then don't worry about it. And no car salesman is ever going to tell you that, but that's the truth. That's the thing to do, is don't go out there and spend something on a hair color or anything. New shoes. If you are in a position of that, don't spend the extra money. It's amazing what $50 here and there and $50 there, if you start putting it towards a car loan, will do.
Makes me wonder.
Don't buy the car.
Here's a good one. Is it possible for GM to do a custom color order for your Vette?
No, GM
does not do that.
They don't. So like, if you wanted like an Audi, I put this on Instagram 6 months ago, maybe. I was over at 360 Express Collision Detail that I work with really, really well here in Louisville. They're 10 minutes away from the dealership, and I walk in there and they've got this Audi RSX in there. I'm like, wow, what a color. This is a red candy jewel color. I don't know much about Audis, but they were telling me, he's like, yeah, this guy paid $17,000 for this color. I'm like, what? $17,000? Why?
You got to really want that color.
Because it was only on an R8. It's an R8 color that they put it on there. So I'm like, dude, this is awesome. It was the sweetest car I've probably ever seen. But like, if you like a BMW or stuff like that, Porsche does it. It's so high dollar to do it because they may paint that car 4 times, and so they got to recoup their money on it. So nope, they don't. Wish they did. They do on some things. I should take that back. They do on some things. Like, say you're a company and you're ordering 50 cars or 50 trucks, they'll do it for that. Look at Mary Kay, right? They make that pink color for Mary Kay. So they do it to an extent. If you go look for a bright red, like a Victory Red or a Fire Engine Red Tahoe, can't find it on a retail lot. But look at the fire departments; they've got them all, right. So you can get those, but they're just hard to come by.
Okay. And does Chevy still offer early lease turn-ins?
Yes, they do. So they don't have the pull ahead program that we used to have. That used to be really, really advantageous before the economy in 08 through 10. I got out of a lease one time 13 or 14 months beforehand and didn't pay a penny. So, but now they're not doing it as much. And, they have a rebate for lease loyalty and conquest, which is usually about $1,500. So if you have a $500 lease, that's 3 months early. But if you have a $1,000 lease on a Tahoe or something, that's barely 1 month.
And we have, Kenny Ramsey says, "Hey Chevy Dude, huge fan. Currently own 3 cars, 2 Chevys, 1 GMC. Love what you do. Would love to come visit when my daughter and I go to Bowling Green when the plant tours resume." So
yeah, I tell this to everybody. Stop by the dealership. I have no problem. Once the car gets here, if you want to sit in the car, if you want to look at the car, you want to take pictures with the car, that's fine with me. I'm cool with that. I think, I haven't decided on this yet, but I think, which I'm probably going to do, which is why I'm saying it, I'm probably going to leave one of my keys up at the reception desk. And if somebody wants to see my car and I'm busy with a customer, that the reception be like, yeah, here, I unlocked it for you. And you can go out and look at my car. I don't care. That's what the car's for. I'm excited to have this car because I've never done this before. I've never had this big of a following on YouTube before. And I want everybody to be involved. And the only thing I tell people is if I only have 10 seconds to say hi and, I get pictures with everybody all the time and sign autographs. If I've only got 10 seconds, it's nothing of arrogance. It's nothing of rudeness. It's nothing that, hey, I'm a celebrity. None of that BS stuff. I don't think that way in any way, shape, or form. But it's usually because I'm with a customer, and that's the reason. If I can get 2 or 3 minutes away, if I'm with a customer, I will do it in a heartbeat. But if I'm not doing anything and I spend 15 or 20 minutes talking with you, I'll do that too. And I don't care. That's the only thing I ask is just if I've got a customer at my desk, just give me a little bit of privacy and just say, hey, Mike, I wanted to say hi. I'm a fan. I'm traveling. If you say that, I'm like, oh, give me like 2 minutes because I might be in something going on with this particular customer that I need 2 or 5 or 6 minutes, then, I'll do that. The infamous saying that car salespeople, when you're in the close, you stay in the close. So if I'm trying to get somebody to say yes, and I feel really weird saying it that way, I'm trying to get somebody to say yes, right? But they're in their decision-making process. I don't really want to get up and leave them because that could cost me a sale. And I think anybody who comes in my dealership and knows me, that they're like, you know what, I respect that. That's cool. So yeah, come in, please. I love the kids. I get the kids all riled up. You like me getting the kids riled up, right?
oh my goodness. I'm just glad they don't come home with me. Okay.
I had, oh my gosh. So
what now?
Ryan Curry's kid, Ryan Curry is one of our business managers. He's got 4-year-old kid. His name's Jude, coolest kid in the world. He's a little shy, but I got him fired up on Saturday, and next thing I know, I walk around the corner, and he's hanging on a mirror of a Corvette like this, and his feet are dangling, like they're not touching. Like, this is a 4-year-old kid, right? The mirror can do it, but his mom's like, and I just got done getting him all riled up and stuff like that. And I was talking to Ryan later in the day. He says, oh, he's been doing that since he was a little kid. He gets on the doors and hangs on the doors and swings back and forth with the door. And I was like, I do that, and I'm 30.
You're crazy. So, hi, dog.
Everybody's calling me dog after TJ says TJ put in his video.
This is actually somebody. He said, sorry for spamming, but I love the wall color, and I appreciate that because I picked out the wall color. I just have no clue what it's called. It was something I found at right Home Depot. I don't know where right there is. Home Depot, and I'm in the process of changing the whole house to this color.
Oh yeah, I like the color. It was cheap, and we got it up on the walls. We may change it one day because I don't know what I want to do with these walls. This thing up here. Which way am I? This thing right here. This is a glass with my Chevy Dude logo on it that I'm trying to still figure out how to light up. Like, I love the Cubs poster back there, the American flag with the Cubs on it, and I don't know what I want to do with her back there, but we need to do something.
Yeah, we need to decorate.
We've talked about putting wood flooring on all the walls and stuff like that. So there's all sorts of things we can do. It's low priority. It's extremely low priority. It's tough to see down here, but like, we don't even have our baseboards up. We don't have the second cat hole for his area there. It's just extremely low priority because I'm so busy doing work. I'm so busy doing this. I'm so busy doing YouTube that stuff is all low priority.
Okay, I like this question. Ben asked, do cars lose value after companies stop making them, or does that depend on the model of the car?
They can lose value, yeah. So, like a Chevy Cruze, it's going to go, it'll tank a little bit in value. So,
what about a Pontiac?
Oh, Pontiacs are dead. Yeah. Like, we sold.
Hey, I still see Hummers on the road.
So High Dog said you could put wall foam on her side. Yeah, we got wall foam over here. I've red and black stuff, but I really didn't want that look back there. So that's over there to do the sound and stuff like that. But I just really didn't want that look because a lot of people do that.
I like
I
this.
really hope you put the scissor doors in your Corvette. I don't think I'm going to. Maybe I will. I don't know. I said if I get 300,000 subscribers before the car gets here, which I only said that like in one video and some people have remembered it, but it was just like, I'll just play around in this one video and I never said it again. But it'd be fun. I don't know.
I mean,
it's out of my comfort zone, right? I've never done anything like that. And every time I see a scissor door,
some are going to like it, some are not going to like it.
Yep.
I think it would be a little hard for the garage space, but maybe not.
This is a good one here. What do you think about the Chevy Cruze? Because I'm planning to buy a new one. Well, you're not going to buy a new one because they're done, at least in the United States. But I love the Chevy Cruze. We've owned 2 of them. So, I think as an owner of the car, I can't say that I hate it, but I wish they wouldn't have gotten rid of it. But I'll tell you what, the coolest car that's coming out that should be here any day is the 2021 Trailblazer. I did a video on that. The 2021 Trailblazer is awesome. I can't wait to get those things to sell them.
Francis wants to know, how many cars do you own and which ones have the priority in the garage?
We only own 3 right now, right?
We own 3, but...
Well, 4. I guess I own 4. I have possession of 3.
Yeah. Okay. So we own 4, only have 3 here, but we also have our son has a car and our daughter has a car here. So pretty much the C7 gets the garage space. My Tesla is in the garage currently, but as soon as the C8 gets here, the Tesla will be out of the garage and both Corvettes will have priority.
It's going to look really cool having 2 Corvettes in a garage. I mean, I used to have motorcycles. I had 2 motorcycles at one time. It's kind of out of the motorcycle phase now, with all the texting and driving and, it's just, and that doesn't really have much of it because I'm a really defensive driver. But just the fact of, just getting the motorcycle out, getting the leather put on, getting the helmet out, it took me 20 minutes to get ready. And then I carry so much junk with me that, I can't carry my backpack with me real well, or I have to put it on my back and that's not comfortable riding a motorcycle. So I kind of got on the motorcycle and started getting into sports cars and,
you had to worry about, is it going to rain later?
Yeah. And I don't look
when you're working 12-hour days, it's like, it may not be raining in the morning, but it's going to be raining at night.
Yeah. And I don't know what it's called, but like, I'm not a minimalist by any means, but like, I've said this earlier, I don't watch news. I don't look at weather. No, I'm your weather. Yeah. I don't look at things like that don't really concern me. Right. So, I don't worry about weather. I don't worry about a lot of that stuff. So, so that was one thing I just have to ask her is like, it's 20%. Well, is it 20? What's it going to do? I don't really want to get caught in the rain on a motorcycle. I was going to say
yesterday was like only a 20% and it
rained all morning. Yeah. Or rained at night. Yeah. So, but it was like my one Harley, I had a, was that called a Road King? I have a Ultra Glide. What did I have? Street Glide. No.
Street Glide.
Was it a Street Glide?
I think so.
Yeah, it was a Street Glide. It's a really nice one that I bought used. And guy put $30,000 into this bike. And if I'd get that wet, it would take me 4 hours to clean. There's so much chrome on this bike. So I just was tired of it.
We have a question. How many years can you get for a loan on a C8? Will they go longer than 7?
Yeah, there's some banks out there that'll do 90 or 92 or 96. There's some banks out there that'll do 90, 92, 96. I wouldn't do it though. This is a depreciating asset. If I don't do anything goofy to my car, my $100,000 car is gonna be worth, I don't know, $60,000 next year. I'm gonna lose $40,000 on this car. That's why I gotta make so much content on YouTube to pay it back. So, and I've told people before that my C8 is not being paid for by Bachman Chevrolet selling cars. My C8 is being paid for by creating content on YouTube, creating these podcasts and stuff like that. That's what I'm doing. This is to get a car.
And Spinrod, please comment on how you sell 30 to 50 cars per month. Well, you have never said you sell 50 cars per month.
I did hear.
You did? Where?
Yeah. So I said I really don't like to talk about how many cars I sell just because I feel like I'm going to jinx, but it's just to answer that question, the best way is just time management. The time management is so key and so huge, and not wasting around with your customers, not wasting around with management, not wasting around with F&I, not wasting around with anything, being proactive for your clients and going out there. And, like I said earlier, I'll take a picture of the VIN plate, which I think most people do nowadays, car salespeople wise. But if I make a mistake, I don't have to walk all the way out to the car to get it. That minute that it takes me to do that, if I do that 15 times a day, that's 15 minutes. If I do that on 15 other items that day, that escalates into a lot of wasted time. So I literally break my day up in 15-minute intervals, and everything I do is like, okay, I got 15 minutes to do this. Like I got a haircut tomorrow. I know how long it's going to take to get my haircut. I know how long it's going to take me to get from the haircut to the office. And I know exactly what I'm doing after, talking at the office and stuff like that, and why I give customers, my schedule. So like tomorrow at 10:30 a.m., somebody, while we're live streaming here, they want to talk to me, Candace and Shannon, they want to talk to me about a C8. So, that's what I'm here for. And they're based out of it. As far as area code goes, they are based out of Fort Worth, Texas. So, that's my day.
We have Seth who asks, what are Z06 going for on your lot? Do you even have any Z06s?
I have one used Z06 and a good Z06 that has got good mileage. It's like 15, 16, should be in the upper 50s, 58, 59, 60,000.
Okay. Jennifer.
Hi, Doc said high class suit. Nope, not going to wear a high class suit. I don't wear a high class suit. I'm not like that part. I could be a minimalist of, I'm not like, I don't like dressing up, jeans. I mean, I own a couple suits, but
it's a struggle to get you to dress up.
Yeah. Like we went to a wedding. Was it last week we went to the wedding? No, 2 weeks ago. Yeah. The 8th we went to a wedding and I went in blue jeans and a nice shirt.
You don't mind wearing nice shirts. You just don't like to wear ties and
I hate wearing ties.
Suits, and you wear dress pants daily to work, so you don't want to wear dress pants when you don't have to. But Jennifer says, I'm at 1100 on a C8 Z51. It says until about April or May. I found a 2019 new Grand Sport 3LT with every option. They have it down to 78K, but I get GMS, and they have 84 months for 0%. Which would you do?
C8. Don't even look at a C7. Even if you don't get a 2020, you got to get a 2021. Stick with a C8. That's coming from somebody who's owns a C7, technically owns a C8, but driven one for sure. Stick with it. Yeah, Stradman broke his car. He did break his car. And I forgot to say this up front. Everybody who's here from Stradman, thank you guys so much for being part of the channel. It's so awesome.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if we were talking about.
So I think I found out why. I was doing some research, and I think I found out why TJ, Amelia, Stradman. Those are the three big YouTubers that talked about service engine lights, maybe street speed. I can't remember if Mike did. I'm gonna have to text him later and see if he's got a service engine light on. But they're not filling their transmission with the 2 quarts of transmission fluid. So if you do track events, you're required to put 2 extra quarts of transmission fluid in it. And since they're doing burnouts and donuts and stuff, that the car thinks it's doing track events, so it's throwing codes. I bet that's the reason. Don't know that for sure, but I think that's the reason.
Okay. Browning Racer says, do you think Chevy would ever make a Blazer SS, maybe all-wheel drive with a V8? They need to get into the performance SUV market. I agree with that part.
I agree they do, but they're not going to. There are all these CAFE laws that prevents them from doing it.
I would love to see a performance SUV. Might be worth buying another Chevy.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And somebody did ask earlier in this podcast through text message, was it fun working with Stradman on his new Corvette?
It's kind of funny that somebody asked. I was thinking about doing a vlog of talking about how it was to deal with these YouTubers behind the scenes, right? And in a nutshell, yeah, it was awesome. Love them to death. Oh, you were there. You were there the day that his temp tag got stolen.
Yes.
You were there, and I thought I was done with talking to him in person, and for a while, and we got to talk a little bit more, and our conversation ended like, hey man, make sure you hit me up if we're close by, right? So like I know I'm gonna try to see him at SEMA. Last year we didn't connect at SEMA because our schedules were crazy, but and I was focused on doing things, but and he was there and he was focused on his stuff and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, even if it's 2 years from now, I mean, we'll see each other and do some fun things and whatnot. But no, Amelia was awesome. Stratty was awesome. TJ Hunt's awesome. Mike Street Speed's awesome. I mean, everybody that I know from the YouTubers, I mean, they're just awesome. If Matt Beaver's watching, he's not awesome. So no, I love Matt. Matt's a cool dude.
I haven't met very many.
No, you haven't.
I did get the chance to meet Stradman.
Yep.
But beyond that, I've met Andrew from Complete Street Performance.
Oh, that guy's a jerk too.
And of course, I've met Nick.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Nick. Yeah. I mean, every YouTuber that I meet is awesome, right? I don't have, this is what's really cool, and Street Speed just hit 1 million subs, which is so awesome. And we need more automotive people to hit 1 million subs because it just helps the automotive community. And it just helps the, more automotive content out there. It makes it a stronger community. But no, I mean, YouTubers are not competing against each other. They're trying to help each other out. And that's the big difference between, I think, what a lot of the world thinks and sees and does compared to what we all think and see and behind the scenes. A lot of us are, I don't know. I can't remember. I can't believe I didn't think about Garrett, Cletus McFarland, he's a really cool guy. And most of these YouTubers, they're all laid back and like introverted, which is really interesting. They're like really quiet and stuff like that. And I'm quiet, off camera, but that's what it's kind of funny seeing how quiet they are and introverted they are.
Okay, MM126 said, did Andy see you drag racing her Vette against Amelia? No, I did not. I
put it on Instagram. You didn't see it on Instagram?
I saw, yeah.
Hey, who said that? Block them. Don't be throwing me under the bus.
And I did not watch the video that it's in. Is it in Amelia's?
Yes, I did not put it. I couldn't record it because I didn't have a GoPro with me, and I'm in a stick, so I couldn't record.
I did not watch it at all, but I have seen you drag race the C7, and it's something I'm not exactly interested in. So
I've never raced the C7 on the street.
More power to you.
Street racing is illegal. Dave B. Sell Chevys. Being a small YouTuber, any tips on how I can build subscriber count? So the key thing is watch Daryl Eves. And I think we've talked before about it, but watch Daryl Eves. Daryl Eves has helped me so much. And look at Vid Summit later this year in October in LA. Hopefully that still goes on. But just watch all that stuff. Learn how to SEO. Being able to search for things is key of growing it, and be helpful. How can you build a brand? I got lucky, I think. I didn't have anybody to teach me, right? And by no means do I put myself on a pedestal. I'll help anybody out that I can. But I got lucky with a couple of videos. Finally, a couple of videos just started pounding away and whatnot. And I started doing more and more things. So just keep up. Just keep it up. Just, go out there and hammer away, and don't get discouraged, and just know that there's going to be one day that you're going to hit a video that's just going to break, and we mentioned Guitarmageddon, his airbags went off in his car. And I talked to people, right? And I learned from people, and I said, thank God you had a camera going on, because imagine if you didn't have the camera on, you wouldn't have had that 3 or 4 million view video, right? And then he was telling me how he got paid on that. I'm like, oh, I could probably do a little bit better on that, And then I got some videos out there that are 3 and 4 million views, and I know how much I get paid on those, and I still continue to get paid on those to this day. So those videos are still some of the most active videos on my channel that get me paid on this, and why I can buy a Corvette. So just keep rocking, brother. I mean, you're doing awesome. I see your channel pop up, and I just saw another YouTuber. He bought a Corvette up in Canada. He reached out to me and was asking me the same thing. And it's like, I told him, I was like, dude, do every piece of content you can on that car, everything that you can. And I told him the videos that I'm going to make, I said, don't worry about if I make a video that you can't make a video, do it. I said, don't copy my shit. Be creative, be yourself. But if I do a video, don't be like, oh, I can't do that video now. Just make it your own.
I love this. David Parker's trying to throw you under the bus. He goes, so she must not have seen where you tried to throw it into first when you were going for third. And it's like, he told me all about that. And it's actually not the first time he's missed a gear.
Now that I'm involved with more of these YouTubers and I'm doing stuff, I'm not that good of a driver. I need to get it. And one of my customers is a ZR1 guy. He says if I come up to Canada, that he'll teach me in 30 minutes. I'll be the best stick driver in the world. So I don't know. I'll go up there and learn. I would like to go to Canada. I think it'd be fun if we get around all this epidemic stuff. But I told him that I would like to go to Canada. Now we don't have Kentucky Derby in May, so we usually always go to Chicago in May during the Kentucky Derby. So I don't know what we're going to do. We're supposed to go over to Europe in June. So I don't know. So if we close down, hopefully I have the Corvette soon, and we'll just be making tons of content on the channel with Corvette.
And High Dog's on here again talking. He's 11.
Yeah, I saw that.
So we appreciate you watching us, and yes, we like to keep this family friendly.
Yes, always family friendly. Always family friendly.
There's
I
no
try
reason
to always think that if my kids were young and watching, what they do. I just said a curse
Well,
word earlier now that I think about it, but
there are a lot of there are a lot of kids that
I won't curse
watch
anymore.
us.
I won't curse anymore. I usually don't curse. I think I was just kind of in the moment and cursed there for a second. So no more cursing, promise.
What car or truck do you sell the most of?
Silverado, crew cab, LT.
Yep.
So
yeah, you don't sell as many Corvettes as
this year I will. I'll sell more Corvettes this year.
Yeah, because it's a new model.
Yep. But
or new generation.
Seth says, I hope DDE gets a C8. I hope so too. I reached out to them and they weren't ready to buy one and they're behind the 8 ball now. So hopefully they get one. Hopefully they get it from me. I have reached out to them a couple times and, hung out with Alex Choi a little bit and Amelia, and I've been with Dave and Damon. I almost forgot Damon's name. And I'm not name dropping to be like, I know these people. It's just, I've gotten lucky. I went to a conference and that's how I hung out with Dave and Damon. It's just, I was at the same conference. Any Rapid Blue C8s available yet? Nope.
Oh, I like this one.
Yellow calipers are sweet.
Why am I seeing over 300 C8 Corvettes on Auto Trader across the country? I thought the 2020s were all pre-sold. Are those leftover allocations?
They're not leftover allocations. They're probably dealers playing games. But also, you and I talked about this the other day because Stradman's car was on our website, right?
Yes.
So sometimes if the dealership does not code the car correctly, which obviously ours didn't, then the car will go to the dealership's website, and then the dealership website will then push it out to the other websites like Auto Trader, Car Gurus, True Car, all that stuff. So I'm getting on Auto Trader right now to look. So, but that's possibly what it is. So I'd imagine those are probably all sold. But there is a big possibility too that no results found. So I didn't find any results for 20 Corvettes 50 miles from my dealership. I'm gonna go all miles here.
Go all miles.
Yep.
Because for a long time, Dan Cummins was showing up on.
Yep. Yeah, Dan Cummins is showing up on theirs, and I know theirs are sold, right? So I talk to those guys all the time, and they're a good dealership. So they just don't have them coded right, which is okay. It's not a big deal. But that's the number one question asked for by consumers: is that car available? That's the first question you need to ask for if you start calling these people. But there's no way that there's an available car here, but there is a needle in a haystack. Oh, right here's one. Graham Rahal Performance. They got a used 2020 Corvette coupe for $109,995. So they just bought it, and
how is it used?
If they're not a new car Chevy dealership. So yes, they could buy it and put it up for sale, but so it's considered used now. VIN number is 143. So
But I mean, like they would have bought it from GM.
no, they would have bought it from a Chevy store.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they bought it from a Chevy store to sell it as used. But what are they selling it for?
110.
So they're trying to capture that what's it called? Extra market valued adjustment.
Yeah. So yeah, they're just hoping they can resell it and whatnot. So, but you know, I'm selling a new Corvette to a used car dealer, and you know that was our conversation. He's not gonna resell it, right? I really don't. You know what you do with your car after I sell it to you is up to you, but I really don't want to sell a car to someone just to resell. I just don't really want to do it, but it is what it is. So see these people they are in Brownsburg, Indiana, so it's not too far from here, up by Indianapolis. They bought it from a dealer in Akron, Ohio. So kind of tells you what they did. So I can always look up that stuff where they're sold and stuff like that. So that's what I was just doing.
So Bradley Cox asked, is my trade worth more there, as in here, or in Orlando? And he has a 2019, and he put ZLE, but I'm thinking he probably has, I saw it somewhere earlier.
1LE.
Yeah.
I bet he says 1L. I bet he means 1LE. So it depends on the market. So I wouldn't think that there's much difference between Orlando and here, but it's a possibility. But yeah, I mean, it could be a little bit, but it just depends on the market. Every market is different.
Okay, time out.
But let's do one more question. We're going to get off. We've been on for just a little over 2 hours now. Let's kind of, oops, I'm in Iowa. Really appreciate everybody being on here. We have 5,500 people on here. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Love
so
it. We'll do one more and then we'll sign off for the night. Appreciate everybody. If you don't follow me on Instagram, it's been up there for a long time. Follow me on Instagram. Make sure you share the stream, subscribe, turn your bell notifications on, hook us up. Appreciate it.
Yeah. You can always follow the Mrs. Chevy Dude too.
If you want to. That's up to you.
But I don't post a whole lot on Instagram, but I probably will once the C8 shows up. You know, may throw some more car stuff up on my Instagram, but a lot of times mine's all workout and positivity.
Yep.
Because I do get tired of all the
We'll do this one right here. True be told. Last question. We're done. What's going on with the Fed cuts? How does that work for car buying? So I don't understand the whole Fed cut stuff because I guess when the Feds drop interest rate, it stimulates the economy. I don't get it. 'Cause I'm not an economist and stuff. I do have an economist customer that probably could tell us a whole lot about it. Audrey could.
Oh,
She's a professor. She's a professor, and now that she doesn't have school, she could probably have some time on the podcast and talk about finances. But you know, obviously with the Fed cuts, it allows GM to do 0% for 84 months, right? Because GM Financial is a bank, so they're getting their money from the Feds, borrowing the money from the federal government at 0%, and it's not costing them anything. Well, General Motors owns General Motors Financial Corp, so therefore they are taking rebates away. Let's say it's $3,000 in rebates, right? So now they're going to make $3,000 additional on that car purchase at borrowing the money at 0%. So they're gonna make their money regardless, right? I don't know how all that stuff works behind the scenes because I'm not privileged to it. That's just kind of off the top of my head what I'm thinking. But you know, if someone wants to buy a Silverado and there's 0% on it, and everybody now is payment buyers, they're like, hey, can this fit in my budget? And 0% gets them there, then they're going to buy a truck. If they had an interest rate and it was $200 too high, they're not going to buy a truck. So that's how it is. Helicopter money coming soon. I like to have a helicopter. That'd be fun.
You don't need a helicopter.
No. But, well, guys, we've been on for a little over 2 hours. We really, really appreciate you being part of the live stream. It's awesome that we have this many people on here, just shy of 5,600 people. So, as always, we'll be here every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. and catch the podcast replay at 6 a.m. Eastern time if Adam remembers to put it Eastern time and not Central time. And then we'll see you next week and with a new topic. Thanks again for watching. You guys have a great day and drive safely.